What we have here are the three types of vertebrae. This type right here is called a cervical vertebrae. This is a thoracic. If you turn them around, they look like a giraffe. This is a lumbar. It's got the big body, and maybe I've been here too long, but that looks like a rhinoceros to me. But here's all three categories. What I'm going to do in this video is show you all the structures you can find on a vertebrae, but I'm going to use the thoracic. It's the one that you can see all the parts the best, and it's easier to work with. So I'm going to move these two out of the way. So I'm going to start down the list, and I'm looking at it automatically. On the sides of a vertebrae, right on this area and on this part on this side, those are called the lamina. They're bony plates that come together like this, and they form this tip. It's called the spinous process. So right away, this is called the lamina on each side. Go dark, I think, for this. For some reason, it's not showing up. All right, take two. Okay. All right. What we have here are three different types of vertebrae. This one on the left is a cervical. This one in the middle is called a thoracic. If you turn it around, it looks like a giraffe. And this one on the end, to the right, is a lumbar. If you turn it around, and maybe I'm in need of a vacation, but this looks like a rhinoceros to me. They're all three together make up the vertebral column. Now, what I'm going to do in this video is show you the structures you can find on a vertebrae, but I'm going to use the thoracic because you can see it the best, and you can make out all the structures on those the best. So I'm going to take those out of the way. Now, I'm going to hold it like this. This is the front part of a thoracic vertebrae. On the sides, on each side, you have two bony plates. These are called the lamina. They actually come together to form the structure that goes down off the back of the spine and points down. That's called the spinous process. So the sides of the lamina, this is the spinous process. If you turn it this way, you actually have two pieces of bone on each side of this opening. That small piece right here and another piece on that side. Those are called the pedicles. They connect the body to the front part of the vertebrae. This part where the disc of between the spinal column, they sit on this part. That's called the body. That's really big on a lumbar vertebrae. On the sides are two points that stick out. Those are called the transverse process. The thoracics actually have a spot for the ribs that connect to. This portion on the top up here, those are called the superior articulating facets. They're actually what make little joints in the spinal column. If I turn it around this direction, and you can barely see on the back, I'm going to tilt it this way. There's a flat spot here, and there's another flat spot on that side. Those together make up what are called the inferior articulating facets. And an actual vertebrae sits just like this in the spinal column. Here are the superior facets. Underneath here, the flat spots on each side would be the inferior articulating facets. This opening is called the vertebral foramen, that opening right in the center. And all vertebrae have this. There is a notch right there on the side. You can barely see it. Here it is. That's called the intervertebral notch. If they're stacked on top of themselves, it's actually called a foramen. And the only thing I have left is an intervertebral disc. Okay, and what we have here, this is an intervertebral disc that sits on the body of a vertebrae. In real life, they're made of fibrocartilage. That one happens to be made of rubber. That's a lumbar vertebrae. The disc would sit just like that on top of the body.